our stage manager, Brandon, is throwing out all kinds of names, and none of them are active. So he's confusing the heck out of me as I'm trying to think. Active quarterback whose team and he have been consistently underestimated and has still won a lot of games. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, my God! Come on! That's right! I cannot believe it. I can't believe he got that right. That is unreal. Hembo is devastated, stunned, shocked. Graziano, that was a pure guess.
I've never heard him like this.
That is the most pained I've ever seen Hembo. That was a pure guess. I'm standing up here to tell you, Graziano had no idea. Lamar Jackson is next, and that's what Hembo wanted you to guess because we're talking about Lamar Jackson
always a run
in a moment.
Yeah.
That is an extraordinary performance. 24-18 Graziano.
Okay.
That is a stunning win. That's an upset of Garoppolian proportion, or whatever it would be. All right, let's go ahead to these matchups this weekend. Week 4, let's do it. D. Wood, let's talk about Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. Who will have more passing yards when KC plays Tampa? D. Wood, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going with Patrick Mahomes in this game. I know Patrick Mahomes, had a quote-unquote humbling experience last week against that desperate Indianapolis Colts team. But I think that Patrick Mahomes, any great quarterback can't hold him down too much longer. I think he's going to have a bounce-back performance even against this great Tampa Bay defense.
Nico, let's go to tonight's game. Who will have more yards receiving, Jamar Chase or Tyreek Hill?
I'm going to go Tyreek Hill on this one. And you consider the way that they use him. He can come out of the backfield. You can use him in the missile motion. You can throw the sweep, the wide route to him. So, again, I think that the way that they use Tyreek Hill, it's really, really hard, obviously, to stop this guy. He's explosive. He is the best receiver in the NFL.
Bart, who will have more total touchdowns, Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen?
Greeny, I can't even believe you are asking this question. But come on, it is Action Jackson because, listen, he's the passing game and the running game. When they get in the goal line, they look to give Lamar Jackson the option to run or pass. Lamar Jackson's having the best season we've seen in a long time by a quarterback. Listen, we don't talk about his receivers because they are not emerged yet. Every other quarterback in that position has great receivers that we're talking about. He has development receivers. He is the Baltimore Ravens. Pay the man his money.
Yeah, well, of that there's no question. That was, last month's story. And by the way, this is hot off the presses. Lamar Jackson has been named the AFC's Offensive Player of the Month. Oh, wow. This just came in. Good, huh? Jalen Hurts was named the NFC's Offensive Player of the Month, for whatever that's worth. That said, we got the battle of the MVPs in this one. So I asked every member of our crew, if you had to bet right now which one of them will win the MVP this year, not who you would vote for this minute, but which one will be the MVP this year, I asked them, and let's put the picks up there. Let's see where they fell. And we have got, we've got a lot of Lamar Jacksons. And Nico, you're riding Josh Allen. Why?
Oh, I picked him before the season. I got to stick with it. I can't, go back and forth on this thing. But you look at Josh Allen and what he's been able to do. I mean, his total offensive production is more than 26 other teams, just himself. So I understand Lamar is terrific, and he's been great this month. But I look at Josh Allen, and I'm sticking with him because I picked him before the season. And if I go against it, I will look like an idiot.
Well,
So
not only that, but I could see an argument to be made, and we'll see what winds up happening this Sunday, that as the season goes on, thus far, the Bills look... I know they lost that game this past weekend. Both of these teams lost to Miami, by the way. But if we project the Bills to have a better year, if there's something like 14-3, maybe that factors into all of this. But D. Wood, if you had to bet that big house of yours on TV, we see it all the time, the piano behind you and everything else, all that kind of stuff. You're riding on Lamar this season.
I am. I'm riding on Lamar. Lamar is putting up better numbers than his MVP year in 2019. I mean, think about this. I think the difference is like Buffalo. I can rely on Buffalo's defense more than I can rely on Baltimore's defense. These are not the Baltimore defense of old. See, that's what to me makes Lamar situation even more appealing because Lamar Jackson putting up these type of numbers and basically dragging this Baltimore team, for the whole season. To me, that would give Lamar Jackson the edge in the MVP conversation.
Listen, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Listen, Lamar Jackson is like the Ohtani of football, right? Because he does stuff that you don't expect. He's going to rush for well over 1,000 yards, and he's probably going to throw for 4,000. Where do we see that at? The only person that can maybe come close is Jalen Hurts. because he's a dual threat quarterback as well. Lamar Jackson's more responsible. You talk about Jalen Hurts, you talk about Josh Allen. He has Diggs. He has Gabe Davis. Listen, Lamar Jackson is doing it with a lot of supporting cast, like a lot of D-list actors right now. No shot on Bateman, but he doesn't have his Diggs. He doesn't have his A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. He's doing it with Mark Andrews and himself. His $100 million left tackle hasn't played since he got the check.
So you just called them a bunch of D-list actors and then said no shade on Rashad Bateman. I'm just trying to put those two.
Well, he's a baby. He's a baby. He's only in his second year.
We'll see. Dan Graziano, you said before the season, you were sitting right there, that if Lamar Jackson stayed healthy, it wouldn't even be close.
Yeah, I think it'd be obvious. If it gets to everything Bart just said is true, like he just operates at a different level. Right? As good a runner as Josh Allen is, he's probably not going to rush for 1,000 yards. And Lamar Jackson, if he stays healthy, probably is. Look, I don't break down film, but I can tell you how sports writers think, and that's who votes on these awards. Lamar Jackson, by the end of the year, should be obvious choice.
That said, they play this Sunday in Baltimore. If not for giving up the most ridiculous fourth quarter against Miami we've ever seen, we'd be having a different conversation about the Ravens right now. Who do you like in this game?
I like Buffalo. You look at the Ravens secondary. They are awful. They are terrible. They are the worst in the NFL right now, and they were the worst in the NFL last year. So I think Buffalo's going to be able to move the ball down the field at will. The Patriots look like they could hit home runs every time they threw the football. So again, the Bills are a much better team than the Patriots. They're going to be able to move the football. I'm going with
Let me get a quick thought on that, because we always associate the Ravens with great defense. Yeah. And some images are tough to get out of your head. Do we have to get that out of our head? Last year they were all beat up, and I think we made excuses. Are they just not that good?
Well, I think the personnel is there, right? They got 3 Pro Bowlers, and they got the top 10 safety that they drafted. I think
2004, and they're doing it behind their third-year quarterback Jalen Hurts. Our Football Power Index thinks our guys are wrong. They give Philly, our statisticians give Philly a 65% chance to win. That equates to a 4.5-point favorite. But we had not.
This is what we thought we were getting. You talk about elevating him up to the top 10 by the end of the season.
All right, so that's the Jaguars part of it. And obviously there will be, I think, a lot of room to talk about them, because they are clearly way better than they've been in a long time. However, we just had a conversation and a debate here about how we're buying into Tua. Well, he and Jalen Hurts are going to be linked forever because of their history at Alabama and everything else. We're not ready to crown Tua yet. Are we ready to crown Jalen Hurts?
He looks damn good. he looks damn good. I think last week did a lot for me personally when it comes to Jalen Hurts, because one thing about Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts, they've always been like one of the best rushing teams in the National Football League. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? The Commanders held them down, from rushing the football. You saw Jalen Hurts literally slice and dice the Commanders to death from the pocket. That's really been the big thing we talk about with Jalen Hurts. Can you win games from the pocket? We know how athletic you are, how athletic, the plays you can make outside the pocket and in the running game. But he did it from within the pocket against the Commanders. To me, that's a big point for Jalen Hurts.
And we've had multiple people up here, including Dominique and Dan Orlovsky, make the point this week. That was the book on him. That was what he couldn't do. And he spent the entire offseason working on it, and now he is doing it to death.
I've believed for a while that Hurts has what it takes inside of him to continue to pursue the level of greatness that he wants. And we're seeing evidence of it, because he's an improving player, right? These guys are not sort of what they are when they enter the league, and it stays that way forever. And if they are, most of them aren't going to be remembered. But Jalen Hurts, he knows what he has to work on. And then the Eagles, right, a great environment for him. They get him A.J. Brown, who's a wide receiver that can operate in the part of the field that was giving Jalen Hurts the most trouble. It all works together. Great circumstances, a tough player, intelligent, mentally strong, and willing to do what it takes to improve.
So help me understand this. The Eagles are great. The quarterback is great. They're playing at home. There's no difference in rest or geography or anything else. Why is everyone sitting up here telling me they're going to lose this Sunday?
I don't know. They just might not be that smart. So, listen, I love the way this team is built. And it goes back to Jason Kelsey, the center, when he started talking about the expectations. And, in the preseason, you go through training camp, everyone was high on the Eagles. Mm-hmm. He came out there and said, it doesn't matter. We haven't done anything. He said a different word, but it doesn't matter.
Right.
We haven't done anything. We have to go out there and actually prove it. We have to go out there and win football games. And that attitude is infectious, especially when you're the leader. He is a leader on this team. So he puts that in the rest of the team. Like, listen, I've been to a Super Bowl. I've been there and done it. We haven't done anything yet. Nobody's crowning us yet. We got to go out there and win football games. And Hurts, go back, all the archives. Go back to what I've said about him from day one. I love the kid. I think he's great. The way he can move in the pocket, his accuracy, and the team believes in him. And now he's got the backing of the coaching staff and the organization, which he might not have had a couple of years ago.
We'll see. I mean, you look at the games coming up on that screen. If you guys are wrong and they're right and they knock off Jacksonville this weekend, they could be staring at 9-0, 7-2. I think would almost be disappointing when you look at the schedule that is on their screen right now. In the meantime, there's a ton of news out there. Graziano, let's go through a bunch of it, starting with Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston, the Bucs did not practice yesterday in London. He's dealing with a back injury and an ankle injury. I said Bucs. He's with the Saints, obviously. Sorry, I'm going back in time. The Saints are saying that he's going to be fine. They held him out as part of the plan to get him through the week. Obviously concerning that he's this banged up early in the season. But as of now, the expectation is that he will be able to go on Sunday in London. Zach Wilson.
Yes.
That's right, for the Jets, making his season debut this week, coming off that preseason knee injury. The Jets are excited about what he can bring. They're also excited about the opportunity to sort of get him back on his development track and evaluate it. If this season's about anything for the Jets, it's about finding out for sure what they have in this young man, and obviously they haven't been able to do that yet as he has been hurt. And then Mac